Today we're going to walk through Payloop. Payloop gives companies visibility into all the costs associated with their agentic workflows and helps you understand your margin profile. We do all of this with a very simple integration that requires one line of code. The home page of Payloop is this dashboard, which is primarily focused around your understanding your cost, your target margin, and your target revenue. The cost data is derived from the LLM requests that you send based on your customer usage. You define your target margin at whatever percentage you'd like it to be. And using these two things, we derive your target revenue. We then chart this for you so that you can see how it trends over time. As you come down the view, you'll see target revenue per customer and cost per customer. You'll also see how your costs spread out across different models. And then finally, you'll get a little bit of a teaser here of your customer list. And this is really focused on helping you understand who are the biggest offenders or who's costing you the most money. And if you want, you can come in, you can click through to view all. And you can really dive in deep here on each one of these customers to understand what's their most used feature, how many tokens they're using, as well as the cost associated with that, and then the actual percentage cost, total percentage cost of your stack. Let's take a look at their usage data now. Here we're getting into a little bit more of a technical use case where we want to help people understand total token spend, and this is derived from input tokens, cache tokens, output tokens. We can also do reasoning, audio, text, visual, and using all of the different pricing tables, we're able to come up with realistic costs based on all of the usage across your product. We also have a classifier that we use to help better understand the API calls and tool usage of each of your customers. So as people use the product and you're sending out requests to the LLM, we're going to analyze each of those requests and we're going to try to label them and categorize them for you. So in this case, we have identify hazards, extract labeled data, classify, extract data, some of the API calls. The tools that we have here are things like text extract, product identification, and all of that really ladders up into what we consider or call transactions. And so transactions are a combination of API calls and LLM requests, as well as the tool usage data. And again, we're tracking all of this across the different models that you might be using to power different parts of your product. We can click into transactions and see which customers are using which of your features. So think of transaction in this case as what you might consider an agent. So in this case, maybe there's something called a label verification where you take a photo of a food product label and that's compared to a source of truth, and you can determine whether or not that data is accurate. We would consider that a label verification agent, and that agent might have a series of tools and requests that it calls, but we're combining all of that here into one element. If you want, you can click in and you can get deeper insights into each of these calls for each of these transactions, including the API calls that have been classified. You can see the tools that they've used, the model, latency, and then you can also understand the system prompt, the user query, and the assistance response. Additionally, we do have the ability using a tokenizer to help you better understand how each of your API calls and transactions and all of your tool usage might work using another model. So in this case, you're using GPT 5.0 and you want to compare it to Anthropic's Claude. So you'll be able to come in and select whichever model you want, and then you'll be able to run the simulation, and we'll take the query based on all the data that we have, and we'll run a simulation to better understand how many tokens it's going to cost you across different models and what that cost structure will look like as well. Here in settings, this is where you can configure your cost plus model. So whether it's target margin or a multiplier, and coming very soon, we're also going to be building out the ability to add and manage revenue on a per customer basis. So that way you can get finer granularity around what you're actually charging versus what your target revenue numbers should be. If you have any questions, please reach out. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.